BingX, a trusted global crypto exchange. Trade spot, futures, or copy top traders easily. Sign up via the link or referral code to get 30 USDT instantly, plus up to 1,500 USDT in bonuses for verification, deposit, and trading.
A man seeking asylum in Canada finds himself in a perplexing predicament, detained within a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility after an accidental border crossing. Mahin Shahriar, a 28-year-old from Bangladesh who arrived in Canada in 2019, recounted to the Canadian press a series of events that led to his current detention. He claims he accepted an invitation from a supposed friend to visit a property near Montreal, a location he now suspects may have been linked to a human trafficking operation. Lost in a rural area and unable to locate the intended destination, Shahriar contacted his acquaintance for directions. It was then, he states, that he inadvertently found himself across the U.S. border, a turn of events he insists was entirely unintentional. Upon realizing his mistake, Shahriar approached U.S. immigration officials, a decision that resulted in his detention. However, in a twist that contradicts recent narratives of U.S. authorities blocking repatriation efforts to Canada, Shahriar's lawyer asserts that it is the Canada Border Services Agency, or CBSA, that is preventing his client's return. Immigration lawyer Wasim Ahmed told The Guardian that the CBSA has been unresponsive, failing to acknowledge or act on requests to bring Shahriar back to Canada. Ahmed states that the last communication he received from the agency was in July, emphasizing that the CBSA has a legal obligation to facilitate his client's return. Ahmed points to the Safe Third Country Agreement, arguing that Canada is required to repatriate Shahriar because he was detained by border officials within 14 days of his unauthorized entry into the U.S. Even if the CBSA doesn't formally invoke the agreement in this instance, Ahmed maintains that an exception should apply. He explains that individuals with family members holding legal status or refugee claimant status in Canada are entitled to return. Therefore, regardless of whether the agreement is applied or the exception acknowledged, the outcome should be Shahriar's return to Canada. In an effort to compel a formal decision from the CBSA and initiate a judicial review, Ahmed has approached the federal courts. He argues that the agency is legally bound to facilitate Shahriar's return. Additionally, he has sought the assistance of Canada's Public Safety Minister, Gary Anandasangari, highlighting the unique nature of this case. Ahmed has drawn a parallel to situations where Canadian border officials have denied entry to individuals from the U.S., citing the Safe Third Country Agreement, urging the CBSA to apply the same principles in Shahriar's case. Canada's Border Services Agency, adhering to its broader policy, declined to comment on specific cases or intervene on behalf of foreign nationals undergoing immigration enforcement in another country. However, the CBSA did reiterate that all individuals seeking entry into Canada must present themselves at an official examination centre for assessment on a case-by-case basis. The situation is further complicated by Shahriar's prior failed refugee application in Canada. He initially came to Canada in 2019 as a student and fell victim to a fraudulent immigration consultant who misrepresented himself as a qualified lawyer, leading to a rejected claim. Under Canadian law, Shahriar is eligible to apply for a pre-removal risk assessment, a process designed to evaluate the risks an individual might face if deported to their home country. If deemed at substantial risk, they may be permitted to remain in Canada. Ahmed reveals that U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement has reviewed Shahriar's case and determined that he would face risks if returned to Bangladesh, leading to their refusal to deport him there. This finding strengthens their argument for pursuing a pre-removal risk assessment in Canada, with the conviction that Canadian officials will recognize the dangers Shahriar would encounter if sent back. Despite his precarious legal status in Canada, Shahriar successfully facilitated the arrival of his mother and sister, and lawyer Ahmed managed to secure a successful claim for his mother, who now holds permanent residency. Tragically, Shahriar's mother has experienced numerous hospitalizations due to severe mental health issues, exacerbated by her son's ongoing detention. Describing Shahriar's situation as arbitrary detention, lawyer Ahmed stated that his client has committed no crime